We'll get started. Good morning, everybody. And
Good morning.
Rich, you have
Good morning, I'm ready.
a list to go through?
Sure, we'll make this quick and easy, I hope. All right, good morning. So we're 2 weeks, or actually less than that, away from graduation, so we are ramping up for that. Getting the grounds the best we can, working with the staff to make sure that we go off without a hitch, and we'll start watching the weather and hope Mother Nature likes us for another year and we can get this thing knocked out and have a great Thursday night next week and start with our summer.
I saw sun in the forecast.
Yeah, I did too.
69.
69 and sun.
Really?
It's gonna be a little chilly.
Nice.
That's okay, I'll take it.
It's perfect.
Ambitious Landscaping did start their work. They did go over to start over by the wall. They did a great job of making that ready for our military signing, which was well attended, and I think everything looked great. And so now they're slowly making their way around the district. Maintenance is doing what they can to stay on top of the grass with all the rain that we've had without putting mowers axle deep in the mud. They're getting caught up as we speak, but things are starting to shape up and look good. Custodial is going to finish out the next 2 weeks for the school year, and in the meantime they are ramping up and making plans with me to choreograph all the cleaning that we'll be doing over the summer. So that's pretty much the update of what we've been going through and doing lately since the last meeting. I know we're getting into budgeting for next fiscal 25-26. Just wanted to put it on everybody's radar that with the CTE building being built, the addition to Riverview, and potentially an addition in the future at Buckeye, we will need more staffing. By the time CTE finishes, I believe we'll need one extra night custodian on campus in addition to what we currently have. And then for Riverview, I foresee us having the need for a mid-shift, which is a 9 or 10 o'clock start and either a 5 or 6 finish to assist with lunches, custodial calls, and breakfast all at the same time, very similar to what we do at Lamouth. That works out very well. Additionally, we're going to have the need for an extra night staff over there because of the addition and the square footage and the amount of classrooms, floor space, and bathrooms that we'll be adding onto the building. So we should take that into consideration as we're moving forward in our budgeting. If it's there, great. If not, then we'll circle the wagons and figure something out from there. Mr. Keeney and I did meet with Vasco pertaining to the seal coating. We did ask them to give us a revamped proposal to do only 3/4 of Riverview parking lot. The far west leg of the parking lot would be untouched due to the amount of construction taking place, and then we could either address it later in the fall or we could address it the following year. That total came out to $53,600 or $53,681. Right there. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a big number.
That's a big number.
It's got an extra number
We
in
did
it.
less work and we're throwing in millions now. Sorry for my typo. We'll still be doing the striping of all the schools. That would be another $14,600. So I'm asking Buildings and Grounds if we can go ahead and put that on the agenda for Thursday so we can get that moving forward and get on the books for that work to take place.
Can you give me the accurate number?
I will do that.
We're okay with adding this to the agenda
For the,
for the seal coat. There's an extra number in there we're going to take out.
okay, yeah. So, Gary, when we're seal coating, what account does that get paid out of?
Usually comes out of the permanent improvement fund.
Is
My
that-
recommend.
Is that a 5-year lifespan? Because it's my understanding that seal coating is just a maintenance item.
Because you're maintaining an asset and extending its life, that's the kind of logic of why we've always used the permanent improvement fund, because you're helping to maintain that.
But it has to have a 5-year life, right?
Well, the asphalt has a 5-year life, obviously more than that. That's why it's always been.
So when we do maintenance on anything that has a 5-year life, it comes out of permanent improvement.
Mhm.
So like if we if we fix a faucet in the bathroom, that comes out of permanent improvement.
That would be general funds, it's.
But it has a 5-year life, a faucet.
Right. I'm just telling you how we've always
Yeah,
done it.
so we might need some clarification on that because it sounds like it's a mix and a match of where we're pulling funds from.
I mean, if the committee wants to take it out of general fund and not touch the PI fund, because there's not much funds available in there, that's.
Well, I just think we need to clarify how we're operating, how we're paying for things, because it sounds like some things that are maintenance are being paid out of PI, and some things that are maintenance are being paid out of general. I think we're gonna need to take a closer look at that, and see how we wanna handle that. I mean, I've known people that have owned businesses with parking lots, and when they're seal coating and striping and that sort of thing, you know, they're usually on a 3-4 year cycle of doing that. And, you know, where the seal coating wears away pretty quickly. Rich, did he say how long the seal coating would be expected to last?
Depending on the winter and the amount of traffic, we can get 2 years out of it. We're going on 3 right now for all of our lots.
So if it's a 2 or 3 year item, it sounds like maintenance, but I think we'll have to address that. So I think we can put it on the agenda to approve.
Okay.
I think we're
Just
gonna
talk about
have
the fund
to,
we're gonna pull it out.
right, have a discussion on where we're gonna pay for it. And maybe what we'll need to do is Gary, do you know if we have well, we would have a policy, well, it's law basically, right? So do we have any specific policy that follows up on the ORC in our system for that?
I'm sure there's something in one of the policies. I mean, it's just been you know, the larger ticket items, because you're maintaining an asset that has a useful life of 5 years or more. We've always done the permanent improvement fund. Some of the smaller repairs, faucets, toilets, those type of things have been out of the general fund. There's typically because the general fund can pay for anything. There's no restriction on that. So usually it's the larger dollar items that go to permanent improvement fund, and everything else, the little things that are hundreds of dollars or $1,000 that go on the general fund as part of its annual maintenance budget.
Thank you for that, and let me just ask this question. If we're replacing tires on a bus, is that paid out of general or PI?
That's general fund because we get funding for transportation that goes in the general fund.
Okay, so, yeah, I think we're gonna have to address that, but Rich, for your purposes, obviously we'll just approve it and get it going.
All right, I'll get the correct number to everybody after the meeting.
No, you're not just gonna move the comma, are you?
No. I will re-add and make sure my fat fingers don't hit multiple numbers at the same
If you move it
time.
to the left.
Right, you move it one.
I'll see what I can
Maybe
do.
just move the decimal point over a couple times to the right.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Hey, thanks for updating us.
Back in April, we discussed 2 pieces of equipment totaling roughly $58,000. It was recommended to bring it back to this meeting in May for discussion and potential approval for the 25-26 fiscal. I'm asking again if we could approve that so we can get the order in time for winter and not do any purchase order or financials till July. I could give the vendor the okay to move forward, and seeing as how we've done business, they know that once we put the order and we have a purchase order coming, if we approve to move forward. If we don't approve, that's fine as well.
No, that was 3 pieces of equipment?
2.
2.
Yes.
And then 1 scheduled for another year or 2 out, right?
That is correct.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, we need it, so we had discussed that before. We can't, if one of them goes down, we can't do the job.
Correct.
So, absolutely.
Thank you. On there, we have transportation.
So my understanding is that we're scheduled tentatively in July to have Crown come back and do the undercoating on 50 of our fleet. Now, I did get a call yesterday from, what was his name, Glenn.
Glenn Akins, he is the
Yes.
Akron person, and he is going to be doing that.
He said he's gonna be taking
going out
over.
to do it.
Okay. I missed his call yesterday. I'm gonna touch base with him
So just
today.
to back up, it's not a new contract, they're just the same company.
Yes, that's my understanding.
2 different locations.
His crew is coming out to do it. I
Yeah.
think it's a little closer.
Because it was my understanding that they opened up that satellite in Akron. They're the same group. if you-
Now, is that, I guess the question that I had on that is if that, and I can find that out when I give them a call, if that's a branch of Armor Lightings.
Well, I
Because
mean,
that is what
it-
we put the PO through as.
Yeah, it can't be a
Yes.
different company.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna touch base with him, hopefully today or tomorrow, to see about scheduling. He's gonna let me know what they need from us, and we'll kind of talk about space and potentially where they could set up shop here.
Is he gonna come up and take a look?
I'm not sure yet. Once I
Okay.
touch base with him, yeah.
Akron's not that far.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. I would assume likely that would happen.
We got those 3 new transit vans last year. Can we add that to the rust proving?
Well,
I would think, I mean, we have, because we already put the PO through, that was approved, what, in March, I think I got that, back to me, for 50 units. So we would have to either add on 3 additional units or remove 3 of the units that we had planned to make room for those.
Of those 50 units, I see that, are any of those real ones that are really not in good shape included in that?
A handful, there's a handful that are coming up on 10 years old that hadn't had treatment before last year. So there would definitely be a number that would be easy to weed out if we wanted to reallocate those, 3 of those units to be those vans that we got.
Yeah, I just hate to do something if it's really towards the end of its life. You know, I don't know, because there's more than just the rust that goes on with those.
Sure,
But-
absolutely.
But anyway, we have 3 new transit vans that need to be done, whether you swap something out or you add it to it, they should probably be done.
so if we're gonna get more life out of vehicles and get another couple of years or more out of them, we would probably want to continue that, but you said 10 years old, what's your expectation? Are there anything that you would expect that you might have go offline in a year or two that you would remove and switch out, or do you think that there's a possibility those buses that you mentioned might go 3, 4, or 5 years?
I mean, what I was planning to have treated by Crown when they come up are none of the ones that I am anticipating going down within the next couple of years. You know, of the 62 active units that we have, you know, we're doing 50. The other 12 are 10 plus years old that have never been treated. They didn't get treated last fall when we went out to Westchester. So I don't anticipate any of the ones that we're planning on having treated going down in the next couple of years.
So, Mr. Keeney, I would think that if we have new units that weren't treated, then maybe we would add them.
Oh, I would think so, sure, because I mean, they're new, nice transit vans, they're used for whatever, you know, to bus kids around for special events. But I mean, we want to have those vehicles for a long time, so absolutely they should be taken care of. And for the amount of dollars per unit, it's really not that much.
Gary, what would we do to add 3 units?
We would just, because it's
That's
pretty
a
small
small
amount. just
PO,
issue
we would
another
just
PO.
do that, we would run that as a typical PO, and say to do 3 more and send us a separate.
You just
invoice.
want to approve a PO,
Yeah, we would just.
a separate PO?
Yeah, we don't even need board approval.
No, that would be.
That's what I mean, you
Yeah.
guys could
Yeah.
just approve a PO and put it in there.
I just didn't want to see them not be done.
Well, and I wasn't aware we had new vehicles that weren't treated, so thanks for bringing that up.
Those were delivered to us in January, I think. We ordered them in October and November.
We just.
I feel like I know the date. Remember, I was hounding you for weeks. When are we getting the
Yeah,
vans?
we got them this year?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, we
well, that
ordered-
just makes sense,
yeah.
then
We
we just
ordered-
had them, yeah.
2 years ago?
No, those we ordered the beginning
Oh,
of this
okay.
school year. We'd been looking for a while though.
And those were brand new?
Yes.
And those buses were more money, weren't they, than a regular bus? The cost wise?
Well,
Which
no,
one?
No,
These
no, those are
vans.
vans.
These are transit
Oh,
vans.
okay, so I'm talking about something different.
You're probably thinking of the special needs buses.
The
Yes,
five-
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The ones that delivered a year before, and they all kind of came in around the same time.
yeah.
Chris Illner ordered those,
Yeah.
so that was,
Okay. All right, great, thanks.
The other thing that I know we wanted to talk about was, Mr. Andre completed a fleet report, that's a little more detailed than the one that he submits to the state on an annual basis, which is the T1, correct?
correct.
The T1 report, just so that everyone knows, there are specific rating recommendations. So if a bus has over so many miles or is over so old, the highest you can rate it, there's a cap on the rating you can provide to it, even if it's in great shape.
So, yeah, when I submit the T1, the entire fleet has to be reported with mileage and then the condition of the bus. The options I have for reporting condition of the bus are good, fair, or poor. I cannot rate a bus poor unless it's greater than 15 years old. I cannot rate a bus fair unless it's greater than 8 years old. So the majority of our fleet gets rated as good due to the age, not necessarily based on the actual condition. It's a fairly subjective report that gets submitted.
Yeah.
And it's all just, it's just tied to funding.
In the report that he completed for this year, we do have some buses that are rated a little bit lower of a condition, even though that they are newer. I believe is how I'm reading that. And then there's ideal remaining life, and what goes into that rating, I guess? Because I'm looking at a lot of buses that have 0 to 1 years of ideal remaining life to your estimation. Does that include next year? Are we talking if we put the fleet on the road next year, they're going to make it through next year?
Make it through the year.
And then-
I guess my thought process behind that is generally, I mean, anymore we're seeing these buses that we have start to have more and more major issues, be it engine, emissions, body, once they're kind of creeping around that 120, 130,000 mile mark. So, a lot of that sort of estimation was going based on, the mileage that I'm seeing, and whether or not we're using it consistently on a route or if it's a spare unit. Generally the life of a school bus anymore, it is difficult to get it up to the 200,000 mile range before you're seeing major issues. I know that you took a look at that. There's 4 units in particular that are completely out of service because the amount of engine work, we put engine work into it years ago, still doesn't function as needed. It was an engine that was discontinued the year after the buses
Yeah,
were
so the last,
delivered to us.
when we talked, I don't know when it was, about 3-4 weeks ago, whatever. And you were saying that you had 2 buses that were having regular engine issues.
Mhm.
And so where are you on that? I mean, that probably hasn't gotten better.
Correct.
And you just fighting that? I mean, are those 2, you just planning to take offline or just use them as emergency use or?
Absolutely, as emergency use typically, those are the ones that we try and keep close to home. We're not sending those far or anything along those lines, minimal use.
Right. So we're not going to Akron for a football game with that bus.
When I look at the spare and the route buses, I see there's one route bus that you rated as poor, and that's a wheelchair bus specifically.
Mhm.
It looks like we need to plan down the road perhaps in 2 years out, potentially 3 buses.
So we have a wheelchair bus that.
That rated, it's a regular route bus that's a wheelchair specific bus that is older and was rated as poor.
Okay, so we're using one that's rated wheelchair as a regular route bus.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 2017 with 138,000 miles.
Yeah, and it's not a special needs bus that we need to replace.
It is a special needs bus.
But is it being used for special
Yes.
needs?
Yes.
Oh, okay, no, I misunderstood that,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
So-
used for a pre-K route.
So we
Oh,
need,
it's just a pre-K route, so
Yes.
it's a short, so it's midday route only.
That one in particular is
Okay.
just midday, yes.
So we should be looking to replace that bus?
Ideally, yes.
And, oh yeah, the ideal situation is we replace it tomorrow, right? But realistically, when do we need that bus? I mean, are we having problems, hey, we should buy a bus next year, or hey, I think we can, wait, a year and buy it too? I mean, where do you think we need to buy that bus?
With the state of how long it takes to get a bus once it's on order, right now, the manufacturer that we use, we're usually looking at over a year out. So I would say the sooner the better, I see another maybe year.
Okay,
left
so
in that
we're,
bus.
we're at the end of the school year, and realistically, we're not gonna have it for, well, we might have it for a little over, let's say, a year and 3 months if we move to order it right away. That doesn't mean you have to chronologically have it at the beginning of the year, but if we were planning and thinking that way, that would be the case. So, Gary, have you priced that out, or Kyle, have you priced that out? Do we know what those buses cost?
Not yet. When did the spring bids come out?
I'm gonna guess probably 130-ish is probably what.
Same as a regular?
Because they're,
Roughly. That's one thing that I would need to take a look at.
'cause they're smaller capacity, but they're,
Oh, okay.
so they're not terribly too different from a regular bus, but
This one in particular is smaller capacity than the rest of our special needs buses as well. So it would be, I would need to look at, I don't know if they're still making that size or not.
Well, look into it, of course, and
See what the options are, yeah.
yeah, so let's find out what they are, because if we're looking at this bus wearing out and we need a bus, we should look at ordering a bus.
Right.
and then we typically participate in the Ohio Schools Council, they do a bus bidding program. Even though the spring program has already passed, you're still able to piggyback on it if you need to, or you just wait till the fall one and put in what you need, so it's something.
And that's like the lowest price you can get, right?
Because you're required to bid out school buses, so
Yeah.
it kind of takes all that
Yeah,
legwork and legal expense and all that stuff that goes with it. The Ohio Schools Council does it as part of their, and they do
Yeah.
it for a couple hundred school districts, so it's.
right, because you were saying we order many things like that.
Yeah.
This removes the process.
So we would need, the other part is our standard route buses. I'm seeing 2 that are route buses that are graded as 4, is that, did I look at that correctly?
77, 88, 89. I don't think so.
Okay,
I think most of the other ones,
29.
there's 29. yes.
29, so
Yep.
2015, 132,000 miles on
Yep.
it. Okay,
And that, I'll be candid with you, that one is used on a PM only route.
okay.
Again, on the road less than some of the other ones.
Okay. And that would be one maybe that we would look at pricing on, one regular, one wheelchair?
Well, yeah, we should obviously look at pricing, see what our plans are, and then we could set it in our schedule, so to speak,
Yes.
wherever we think it's logical, best, whatever, place to put it in the purchase cycle. So, let's definitely look at that. Okay, so I know that when we spoke, you said we had 58 buses, 2 of them were having engine problems. So in my mind, I was thinking 56 automatically, because engine problems usually means you're not going to be using them much longer. So really, we have 56. And then what I'm hearing is one of those is in poor condition.
Correct.
Okay, so
59. I would say
59,
is the
take the
closest
2
number,
engines off, and is one of those 2 that is an engine problem, the poor condition bus? Or is that a third bus?
Those are separate.
Okay, so that's a third bus.
Yeah.
So if you had 59, and if you took 3 off, if you looked at it that way, we would have 56.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Chris, what I would think of is, you said we needed 48 on the road at any given time, right? For
40,
football games.
Yes, yes. Yep.
So if we have 56 and we need 48 on the road at any time, we have right now an additional 8 buses available to us. I don't know if we'd be buying a new bus to replace the poor one at this time, but the special, well, not special needs, but the wheelchair bus. I think we always want to be in a position where we're satisfying all our needs in that category.
And a few of the spare units that we have are special needs buses. They are those
Yeah.
buses with the wheelchair lifts.
So let's get a price and we can reconvene and talk about it, and maybe we'll meet in your office and go through it again.
Sure.
And take another look, because, you know, look, talking about it once or twice, talking about it another time or two, sometimes you can refine the conversation down to exactly what we need to do. And then, you know, you could look at it and say, hey, look, here's my perfect world.
Absolutely.
One thing I noticed in looking at the report, you have 3 buses from 2023 that all had cracked differentials. What causes a cracked differential?
Good question. We're unsure at this point.
Are they all in the same kind of routes, or the roads they're driving? No?
Is this the
All over
casting or
different-
is this the gears inside?
This is the casting. It's the outside. It's the shell that holds the mechanisms.
I mean,
And I'm
you
sure
would-
something like that, we're not the only district with that issue, right? It's a manufacturing thing?
We are, so those 3 so far we've taken to our dealer to get warranty work done on it. They have not seen any other ones come in like that. Now, our dealer is just based in the Akron area.
Right.
That's not to say that International as a whole hasn't seen them. I haven't heard back because they said they were going to look into it and reach out to Navistar International to see if they were seeing that issue anywhere else. But it was on 3 of the same model year bus that came in right around the same time.
So how was this discovered? Did it put them out of service right away or during?
Yes.
It did?
Put them out of service right away. The first one, I think the driver noticed it when he was doing his pre-trip. He got to his bus one morning and there was fluid underneath his bus. And from that point, we discovered another one, same sort of deal, looked at saw leaking fluid. At that point, we looked at all the buses that we have that are that model year, looked underneath, and found a third one.
That's some kind of manufacturing defect.
Likely, yes.
Yeah, I'm guessing low quality steel. Is it steel?
Yes.
It's not aluminum.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're seeing a lot more issues, you know, not just on our older end of the fleet, on our newer end of the fleet as well, that are, you know, unfortunate manufacturing defects.
So if you went back decades, they might weld that sort of thing,
Right.
but now you're probably having to replace the casing
Mhm.
because, yeah, regulations. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that is unable to be done in-house for us.
Right.
Now granted, when it's something that's warranty work like that, we're gonna send it out regardless, but
What kind of warranty do we get on a new bus? How many years?
it's nothing's by years typically with them. Everything and all of them, different mechanical pieces are based on mileage. The majority of the warranty is gonna be 20,000 miles from the manufacturer. So that typically gets you a year and a half to 2 years.
Yeah. It's doing the quick math on that when you
Yeah.
went back to the other bus with 120. So, that's not very long.
Right.
Yeah, you're into that in a hurry, and then you're paying.
Absolutely. And, you know, we've had our battles when, you know, something happens at 21,000 and
Yeah.
name of the game.
Well, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then we'll reconvene. Do you want to talk with Chris when you have that info?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then, Chris, we could set something up,
Yeah, absolutely.
and we could just,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Kyle can come over here, we can go to his office, whatever. Okay, are you good? Good. All right.
Okay, for the CTE edition, we had to do our due diligence, and we had the EA group do testing on the first floor deck of the high school and the areas affected. To the addition, and adjacently, we did the crawl space. The reports did come out, it was distributed to Ryan administration and Roger, along with John Slapnicker and Jeff Campbell at CCI. EA Group is working on a scope of work for the first floor abatement for this project. I have spoken to Roger about the concerns about the crawl space. I will tell you that I was in writing in a text message told that under no circumstances is anybody to go into this crawl space for any reason unless you are fully respirated or and you have the bodysuit on. It is that bad. So I have spoken to Roger because of my concerns that we may have to put vendors or workers down in there for the project. He did speak with CCI. He did get in writing that they claim, and they are stating in writing, that we do not have to go in that area at this time. Hopefully that is truthful and that is the case, because if it is not and a contractor has to go in there, we could be stalled on this project. Where I'm going with this is that we, in this crawl space, and actually in both crawl spaces at John R. and the high school, and I'm speaking directly to the high school at the moment, we have all of our sanitary lines, our steam traps, our water lines, some communication wires, and electrical. That being said, if something breaks, which we've had happen in the last several months, we need to get in there. Not only myself, I will not let my staff go in there. I will take the brunt of it, and a contractor to make these repairs. If we have this situation, it's going to delay and potentially shut down the school while we make these repairs. The recommendation from EA Group is that we, as a district, consider abating the entire crawl space basement area of the high school and encapsulate what is down there, the dirt and gravel, in what is called a mud mat. And basically, they just pump in concrete, encapsulate everything, and then you have a clean atmosphere area to work in, so if you have to get in there in the future, you can do so. A guesstimate on EA Group, and I'm stating very strongly this is a guesstimate, potentially $200,000 worth of work.
Yeah, we had looked at that.
So it's something that we should seriously look into moving forward, just from the fact that we are aging on a daily basis, and we know for a fact that we are going to have to get down there for some repairs, be it plumbing, electrical, or what have you.
Right, I think it had come up actually about 3 years ago. The idea that there was asbestos down there. No one knew exactly how extensive, and then there were discussions how to encapsulate it, but I think that was the simplest, easiest way to do it. Otherwise, you have to go in and remove everything.
Yes, and then areas that were, we do have some sections where it's banked. In that case, doing a mud mat would probably be a little bit more costly. We could go ahead and encapsulate it with a rubber membrane, and then they put a heavy rubber matting over the top of that. So it would be a combination of mud mat and rubber matting in areas. The mud mat is much easier to work with, especially when you're trying to crawl around and make repairs.
Well, is it the EA Group that would give us a formal quote?
They are working on that currently. That will be forwarded to everybody. It's going to be broken out to do what we're calling the first deck, which is the first floor, interior, exterior of the CTE addition area, and then there's also going to be the scope of work, which will get a budgetary number for the basement.
Time-wise and logistically, would it make sense to do the whole project at once, or is it necessary for them to work in conjunction with the project to get the areas done where the work's being done?
I can look, as long as, in my opinion, as long as the abatement work in the crawl space would not affect or hinder the progress of the CT building, I think they could go simultaneously, but I will confirm that.
Okay.
Right now, we have the dirt floor in the crawl
That
space.
is correct. Dirt and gravel.
This is something I think we need to get multiple quotes on.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's a big number, right?
Yeah.
And so we start with this number and go from there, right, and then execute.
And anything that is in that area would be pitched. So we do have plaques, we do have trophies. That would all have to be pitched according to EA Group, just because of the contamination that is on them.
So, right, well, we can inventory all of that and replace it, yeah, so.
There are no student records though, right?
There are not.
Okay.
Well, I think it's something that needs to be done. You know, when you have an old building, you run in, as soon as you become aware of these things, you probably need to go ahead and act on them.
If you look at the campus, you know, kind of the big picture and what needs to be done over the future, that crawl space is going to be very critical to run new infrastructure in. So if this is done properly, so that anybody in the future can get down in there, tear stuff out, put new stuff in without any
From a,
fear of anything.
absolutely, and from an organizational standpoint, we have leaks in there, we have breaks, we have things that we need to access it, and if we don't, we will be shut down, and it will impact the education that occurs if we can't get to
Yeah,
it
no
safely.
question,
So
no
we
question.
need to look into doing it.
Yeah,
And I do want to state clearly that this is not jeopardizing any of our staff or students as it sits. It is undisturbed. It is not becoming airborne. It's when you get in there and you start rattling things is when it could become an issue. So as it sits, it is not a detriment to anybody's health. Now, if you want to go down in there and sit there and breathe it for a couple hours, that's on you and
well, thank you for that update. You know, it's certainly an item we're gonna take care of.
And then if anybody wants to discuss CT and Riverview updates, we're moving forward. And
While we're on that topic, is our Mr. Keeney and Mr. Fischel are May 30th, Friday? Would that be good for you guys for a groundbreaking ceremony?
Wait, we found a date.
I think we did, we just need to get to a time. We have the 30th, we have everybody who's available, I think, Nick sent out 3 o'clock, but that was right as I was talking to you, the email went out, so.
Is it possible to do 4 o'clock?
Probably. I know Belinda said she had to be on the road by 4.
Okay, so let's do 3. If she has a time constraint, let's just do 3 to satisfy that. I'll make it work for me.
You want to do 3:30?
3's okay.
So we also talked about doing a groundbreaking here and then driving over to Riverview.
Right, I mean, it's gonna take, well, I mean, it's gonna take 5 minutes to drive over there, but then
It
people,
will probably take longer to drive from here to there than to do the groundbreaking ceremony.
okay, so we can do both.
Okay.
Okay, so
Start.
let's make it 3. We don't want, I mean, if Belinda needs to be on the road at 4, let's make sure she can be on the road at 4.
Okay. Well, you start here at 3. We'll probably be over there by 3:30. I mean,
It's 2 minutes.
yeah, it's short. I mean, a couple short speeches.
Wait, who's gonna talk?
Probably either speech.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
Let's
So-
eliminate the speeches.
So last time
I speak
we had
quickly.
superintendent and board president, we could reallocate those duties, but I mean, it could do normally a welcoming to the people who show up. you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
the
So you'll
history.
spend a few minutes.
Well, you're gonna speak the night before, so you can just reuse your speech from graduation.
Graduation, boy, that's,
Yeah, you better get your speaking hat on next week.
boy. So, do we have a recording? Just press a button.
You're gonna do a video this time?
throw you up on the screen.
Yeah, we'll put some remarks together. We'll invite our, obviously, the local politicians as well as some state.
All right, so we're gonna do 3, and then immediately after a review.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. I will reply all of my email from yesterday.
Get those invites out. Awesome.
As far as the CTE goes, and understand we're starting to get some more communication with the gas company on that relocating the line, is that true?
CCI said they are on it and they're working on it. I have not gotten any further information at this time.
What I did find out, that 6-inch pipe is just a casing. It is not a 6-inch gas line. So there's probably a 2-inch within that 6-inch, so it isn't as scary as it maybe it would have been. So we got that going for us.
That goes under the building?
No, it goes across the lawn.
There's one that goes under the, which is the 6
The one
inch.
the one that goes under the building, under the new
Yes.
addition. Yeah, that's
That's the
got a
6 inch.
casing.
Okay.
That's a 6-inch casing, and it's also a 6-inch casing that runs along the
Okay.
lawn. So, whatever it's gonna take to either abandon that one line, if that we're allowed. We don't know what's gonna happen yet, so I'm just saying, keep your fingers crossed.
I do have another one. Mrs. Brewster, I spoke to her last night. She did ask that I update the group on Buckeye. There was a slight change. I think she'd go over at the board meeting and brief the whole board to the Buckeye plan. They're actually turning the gym 90 degrees. It makes more sense from a programmatic standpoint. So she'll provide some drawings in the sketches. And well, actually, Ryan will be there as well. So I think Ryan will be
I
there.
mean, the gym being one way or another really doesn't much matter, does it?
It makes it programmatically, it makes a little bit of a difference. So it works out.
I mean, it's better, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
So she just wanted me to share.
wanted us to know.
Yep.
Great. Rich, you were gonna get an updated quote on removing the trailers?
No, I was going to reach out to Mr. Moosbrugger, who installed ours, to see if he had any interest, and he is not returning any of my calls.
Oh, okay. So, your quote, the 35,000, was just dismantle all three and discard,
That was from Eagle, yes.
okay? Can you get a quote from them to dismantle everything and keep the one trailer? Are they capable of moving it, or are they only dismantlers?
They're just dismantled.
Okay.
That's a specialty company to move.
Okay, so if you can get a quote, just to remove the two older ones and the deck and everything that go, remove everything but leave the last one there. I know a guy that does that sort of thing too, and I'll ask him to give a quote. He's been unavailable the last couple of weeks, but if we can maybe in the next week or two get a quote, to see what it's gonna cost us. So we know it won't be any more than 35.
Do you want the decking to the newer modular removed as well, or leave that in place for access?
No, just remove it. Yeah, 'cause I'm looking at just taking that newer unit. Hopefully, we could set it aside and sell it. It doesn't matter when it sells, but we should be able to get
So
something
get
out of it.
2 or 3 quotes, official quotes for that?
I mean, it's underneath, yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, you're gonna get one, I'm gonna get one. It's a low enough dollar amount. I'm not so sure we need more quotes than that, do we?
Board policies, we try to get 3 if we can get 3, if it's gonna be more than 15,000, so.
15,
So I would
okay.
get
So,
3,
yeah,
yep.
try to get,
Okay.
it doesn't have to necessarily get 3, but
Do we have a-
we should try.
Well, no, if that's what it is, if it's 15,000, and Rich, if you could get another one, I'll have this guy, he's a local guy, and he's been unavailable, but I think he's,
Do we have a
Available.
timeline so I can just,
you know, what I'm thinking is, school's coming to an end, so as soon as we can do it, we would do it.
mid to late June?
Yeah.
So is that an agenda item that we need to add?
I can put it on the agenda, just so we have the official. Or
Go ahead and to remove.
approving the disposal. In accordance with board policies, that allows us, because the board policy says, that's the issue with selling it, is do we have to auction or not? And the threshold is $10,000. Is it worth $10,000? If it's under that, you don't have to auction it. If it's more than that, you do. And we talked to Dan, we're like, it's kind of.
There's not really a price on it, but
And we can always change the policy, because the policy seems to get in the way a little bit. Is there a reason to keep that policy?
I'm not sure if it's based on state law or not, but.
I have to look. I think there are some specific
Well, if you want to look into that,
dollar
see
amounts.
if there's
We
ORC.
I mean, just taking action on it, I think is the safe way to.
Because if there's no ORC involved, we'd probably just eliminate that policy, because it kind of ties our hands a little bit. And then if it sells for 10,500,
Right.
We break the policy if we didn't auction, so, yeah.
Where would we store it if we moved it?
Probably over at the maintenance building site, just put it behind there. Plenty of room. You can park it in the grass, right? Throw some wood down.
I would be, the only concern I have is that the Concord community uses the grass areas for soccer leagues.
Behind the building, do they use behind the
They
building?
use behind and on the side, yes.
So, do we, I mean, there's plenty of area, gravel, right? Drive parking areas. See if you can find a slot where you could slot it.
And then what the cost to move that would be, because it may not be worth it.
That cost is gonna be expensive.
Yeah,
And-
it may
and-
not be worth it.
Yeah, there's a local guy that can move that I think the cost will be reasonable.
Okay,
Yeah. Again, if we can have local people that are willing to
Right.
help us,
right.
you know, we lower our costs. So, you know, Rich, even if we had to throw down some more gravel somewhere, just to create a slot. You know, give that some thought, see where you could tuck it. And then we can figure out what the law is and what we have to do and
When you
policy or what.
store those, this is a, thinking of how they split. When we move them and store them, we would crack it, you have to put something over it to keep it weather sealed, correct?
They'll do a visqueen wall
Yeah.
on the midsection of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we can decide if we want to add, I mean, I hate to say it, but visqueen tarp, something to encapsulate it, keep it from the weather. And then
So
also.
depending on those costs will determine on what we're gonna do.
Did we offer it to Cleveland?
Yes.
They didn't want.
Their
it.
suggestion was they were just going to add it to their scope of work to demo at the time of ground prep.
All right, so we'll get more info on that. Thank you on that. Anything else?
I'm done.
Well, it's 8:18 and we're ahead of schedule.
Great way to start the day.
Have a great
Out of the
day,
gate,
everyone.
pick up a few extra minutes.